All right, so thank you, Chairman Kaufman and Galloway, Representative Plunk, and to the rest of the House Labor and Industry Committee for the opportunity to testify today on behalf of HB 2571. My name is Keith Williams, and I am the Director of Outreach at Americans for Fair Treatment, an organization dedicated to public sector employee advocacy. For the past 21 years, I've actually been a public school teacher. So you heard from the attorney, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. 18 of these years were spent at New Oxford High School, where I taught several English classes, including a Middle States accredited course that took students to places like Yellowstone, the Grand Tetons, Grand Canyon, Zion, Redwoods National Park. I've sacrificially served both my school and my community as a track and cross country coach, and through over a decade of volunteerism in search and rescue. In my new role as Pennsylvania Director at Americans for Fair Treatment, I am a passionate advocate for the rights of public sector workers, particularly our public school teachers. And that's because I've been a teacher, a coach, and a volunteer for the overwhelming majority of my professional career. When it comes to unions, I am here to testify as a public sector employee for over 2 decades. Believe me when I tell you that I understand how union membership works at the ground level more than anyone else you'll hear today. In addition to my testimony, you'll also hear from organizations and unions that they support. Perhaps there are even some individuals here today who owe their elected positions to public sector unions. What you most certainly will not hear is testimony from a public sector employee who thinks that being kept in the dark about his or her rights is a fantastic idea. And to that, I would point to Representative Klunk's comment about HB 2571 and why it's necessary. This really is a consumer protection issue. People simply have the right to know what their rights are. It's necessary because I know from personal experience as a public sector employee that unions cannot be trusted to hold themselves accountable. After a few years of short and long-term substitute positions, I entered the classroom as a full-time teacher in August of 2000. And like any new teacher, I was assigned a mentor who offered guidance and support as I navigated those anxiety-ridden first few weeks of school. And I endured those absolutely delightful state-mandated induction meetings. On that first school in-service day, my mentor pulled me aside. She warned me that as a young man and a coach, I needed to be particularly concerned about protecting my job. The questions began. What if a student makes a false accusation? What if something happens in practice? The what if questions continued as I was led to the PSEA registration table, where I was sold on the idea that I needed liability insurance. So begrudgingly, I became a union member in that first year of teaching and a de facto donor to the Democratic Party under the promise of protection. I joined because I was led to believe that it's just part of becoming a teacher. I was never told otherwise, and my mentor led me to believe that as a professional, joining a labor union was just some reality of public sector employment, that all teachers did it. Obviously, overtly forcing an employee to join a public sector union as a condition of employment is both illegal and a gross overreach of a political lobbying group. Public sector unions are clearly aware of this fact. However, the reality is that employees across the Commonwealth are led to believe that they must join a union as a condition of employment every single day. In my experience, and that of most employees across the Commonwealth, union paperwork is subtly included with our health insurance and other new employee induction paperwork. Membership is assumed, and the option of not joining is never mentioned. As little as 4 months ago, non-members were still forced to become agency fee payers, which many workers chose in an attempt to avoid supporting union political activity. Now, after the U.S. Supreme Court decision in Janus v. Assman, it is even more important that employees understand that they are no longer forced to pay a union in order to keep their jobs. In my experience, unions are usually smart enough to fly under the radar and only verbally imply that membership is a requirement. Some unions, however, are not so smart or so subtle. Some of these unions are willing to deceive employees through overt lies to gain members, and in some cases will go so far as to state in writing that union membership is actually a condition of employment. We are here today, and this bill exists because public sector unions and their political benefactors clearly understand that they can create and maintain a revenue stream by keeping employees in the dark about their options. House Bill 2571 protects public sector employees, employers, and taxpayers from the deception and the manipulation that unions practice in securing their income stream. That public sector union representatives would show up today and have the temerity to openly oppose a bill that ensures that employees know their rights is an indictment of unions' true intentions. People have a right to know their options. HB 2571 helps to ensure that that happens. Thank you for your time today and for the opportunity to speak on behalf of my fellow public sector employees across the Commonwealth.